Dalena Properties in Ganubi specialize in sales and rentals. At Dalena Properties, you will receive excellent service, and they pride themselves being honest, reliable, and will deliver your dream home on time. Welcome home. Welcome to Dalena Properties. Contact Dalena Properties today on 083 281 2174 or 043 740 4786. Dalena Properties, the Ganubi property specialists. Good afternoon and welcome, Dalena.
Hi, Vanola. How are you?
Much. I'm good. How are you?
Good, no problem.
Good. A little bit of a rush around Wednesday, but always lovely to see you.
It's Blue Monday today on Wednesday.
I'm telling you. What are we going to be discussing today?
You know, last week we discussed the security at showhouses.
Yes.
So today I would just like to talk about the benefits for the owner and the estate agent to having showhouses or open houses.
Okay, perfect. Then what is the difference between a show house and an open house?
An open house is a long-standing tradition in the sale of residential properties to expose a property to more potential buyers to view the specific property at the designated time, and we normally do it from 2:30 until 5 on a Sunday.
Okay.
But a show house, on the other hand, is actually a newly built home in a development that is furnished, decorated, and therefore ready to be shown to potential buyers.
Okay.
But rightly or wrongly, Vanola, we are used to the term show houses if we do the shows on a Sunday.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk about show houses.
Okay. Do show houses actually sell homes?
The short answer to your question is homes are rarely sold as a result of a show house. And the truth is actually show houses are one of the sales tactics that may be more about the hype than about the results.
Okay.
So I do not have the actual stats with me, and it's difficult to establish, but from experience I would actually say that 2% of show houses get sold on the show house day.
Well, that's quite small then. Hey?
Very, very, very small.
So then the question must be asked, why do sellers put themselves through the pain of getting their homes spick and span for a show house when the results are, like the way they are?
Vanola, it's a good question. And I would actually like to give you an honest answer. You're going to laugh at me again. Some estate agents would like sellers to get all excited about the idea of a show house, and they would convince the seller that it is a valid sales method. But a lot of the agents actually use show houses to meet clients. Remember we spoke about all the nosy neighbors and the looky-loos last week? Well, they actually visit the show house.
That makes sense.
To look around.
Yes.
But they are potential future clients. So there are some estate agents that have to do show houses.
Yes.
Because if they don't do it, they don't know where they're going to find the next client to show around.
Very interesting.
So what sellers actually need to understand is that real buyers, they schedule appointments with a specific agent to go and view the house.
Okay. Well, then my question is, why are show houses still being held on a Sunday?
For the simple reason because sellers have the expectations that they could be lucky and sell their home on the show house day. And anything is possible, Vanola. It's happened.
Yeah.
I have sold a property on the show house day.
Yeah.
But over the years, if you go and add up the houses that we've sold on the show house day, I get to my percentage of 2%. So sometimes, and more often than sometimes, the sellers are actually very disappointed because their house is not sold today at the show house.
Yes.
So the truth is, show houses on Sunday is actually the old-fashioned means of marketing a property which no longer produce the results that happened in the past. However, you might carry on doing it because the sellers expect it from you. And it still remains a good way to draw the attention of the a potential buyer who do not do their research online. The buyers
That's it.
are very savvy,
Yeah.
and most of them do all their research online before they actually visit a home.
That's true.
You know, when they phone me about a property and there's an orange wall in the property, they will start off and they will say to me, Dalena, I would really like to go and look at the property. I remember there's an orange wall. And then I will ask them, can you give me the price? And they can actually not give me the price straight away, but they remember the orange wall. So they do their research, and that is how they operate.
Okay. And Dalena, why do you recommend a show house to sellers?
You know, new properties elicit a certain level of excitement for buyers. It's always a new release.
That's
And
it.
all the agents phone their clients with a new release. But despite all the changes technology has made, one standard feature of the process remains, and that is the Sunday show house. But I always recommend to sellers not to have a show house in the first few weeks when their property is fresh on the market.
Okay.
And my reasoning for that is it forces the genuine serious buyer to phone me to go and have a look at that property.
Okay.
The board is outside. It's on all the websites. So the person that do their homework will phone me. They're not dependent on that show house that is coming Sunday.
That's it.
And a show house makes it easy and too convenient for the buyers just to come and walk through on a Sunday.
Yes.
And they actually don't commit themselves to anything. Where if they make an appointment with you to view the property, they are committed to that appointment. Not that it always means something.
But still, yes.
However, a show house on a Sunday still remains a great way to expose that property to all the looky-loos and all those guys that just go past. They get the instant gratification. I want to see it now. And that is why you do the show house.
No, that makes sense. Dalena, what are the benefits of a show house to the seller, though?
You know, it can be a very efficient means of concentrating a large number of people on one specific day between specific times to view the property.
Okay.
And the benefit to the seller with that is it's much easier for them to do deep cleaning, leave the house spotless, because they know exactly that is the show house time and that is when the people are coming to look at the
Yes.
property. Another benefit is that if a property has already caught the eye of a potential buyer, he or she might be more willing to come back, to come and have a look at the property a second time, because it's a less formal setting. You know, the sellers are not there looking at them and all the eyes are on them. So they
Yeah.
browse through the house and they have a good look in their own time. That also gives the buyer the opportunity to bring their friends and their family for a second opinion.
What do you think?
Sometimes that is also not a good thing, but causes confusion sometimes. But you know, at the end of the day, if you like a house, you buy it. And walking through a show house also provides the visitor with plenty of time to look around without feeling being rushed. They got to get out here.
Yeah.
So they walk and they have a look and they ask the questions for the agent and they go back and have a look again. And lastly, it actually gives the buyer the opportunity to do comparison shopping. Because they are looking at the property in this bracket.
Yes.
They do their homework. They go through the bookie where we all advertise.
Yes.
And then they compare
Price with area.
price
and-
with
yeah.
area, price with
What are they
what
getting for the
square
price?
meterage and
That's
things
it.
like that. So definitely, it is good to do a show house.
Yes, yes.
There are definitely advantages.
Okay, perfect. Well, then, on that note, what final advice do you have for sellers?
Firstly, Vanola, the most important thing is the sellers must not overprice their property to begin with, because that can leave that property permanently on the stale list.
Yeah.
Now, you know what the stale list is. The property that's on the market
That's-
today and it's
yeah.
still there in a year's time and still there in 2 years' time.
Yes, someone just doesn't want to get sold.
It doesn't get sold.
Yeah.
And you know, the bad thing about it is style listings achieve little to no buyer inquiries.
So that can become problematic.
It does. It actually hurts the property. Secondly, sellers must not always be personally prepared to have, they must always be prepared to have strangers through their home. Doesn't matter what time. But they also need to make sure that the property is always ready to be shown to a buyer.
I mean, you're always on standby almost.
You're always on standby, and unfortunately, that's how it goes.
The nature of the business, yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's it.
So sellers must remember that buyers' first impressions are always lasting. You like the orange wall, you remember the orange wall.
That's it.
That's how it goes. And lastly, my personal little bit of advice to sellers is do not raise your expectations that your property will be sold on the show house day.
Okay.
So find an experienced estate agent that you can
Yes.
trust, that will always provide you with the truth. Most important, they must be able to persevere to market that property until it is sold.
There we go. And on that note, Dalena, how can somebody get hold of you if they would like to market their property?
They can phone us at the office Vanola on 043 740 4786. They can phone me on my cell 083 281 2174, and they can browse on our website www.dalena.co.za.
Perfect. Dalena, thank you so much, and I'll look forward to chatting to you again next week.
Thanks, Vanola. See you later.
Thank you. That was Dalena from Dalena Properties, and thank you so much to her.